Hey everybody, welcome back to another season of FSidfs Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host Mega 31. We got the Clash coming up this evening. Don't have the full lineup yet, but I want to get something out to you quickly. So, um, to help you out, if you go to FSidfs.com and go to the monthly NASCAR option, I've made it free. So if you get in today or tomorrow, then that should take you through Daytona and all that stuff. So get the beginning of the season on me, try the package, see what you think, and hopefully, tonight, about half an hour before the race, I should have like the final picks of everything for you. What you have on the screen right now, I'll explain in a second, but let me just give you a little background on this race. So they're moving to Bowman Gray Stadium. They've done it at the Coliseum in LA the last couple of years, and it was okay racing. The one year they had Wiz Khalifa do the halftime show of it, and the joke was his song "Black and Yellow" is spinning yellow, spinning yellow, spinning yellow. So it's a short track, a very short track. So it's only a quarter mile. So it's in a stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It was a football stadium built for Wake Forest, and then there was a local high school teams, including like R.J. Reynolds High, which was like the tobacco company. And then the stadium was actually named after one of the chairmans that died, I think, in like 1935, um, uh, Bowman Gray. And he also started Wachovia Bank with his son. So, as I said, it's a very short track, quarter mile, about the same as was in LA in the Coliseum. The difference is the Coliseum's track, just the way the football field wasn't exactly symmetrical, but this one is because it's actually a track that they run on. And high school has like track and field here, or at least they did at one point. It used to be that it was during football season, it was football and track, and then Saturday nights it turned into a racetrack here when football season wasn't in session. And they call the place the Madhouse as kind of nickname for the sprint cars that ran here. So there's a little bit of the track, like I said, is pretty symmetrical, but there are a couple places that jut out in turn one and turn four where they have like the staircases for the bleachers. So they'll have to watch that. I believe it was Cole Custer got pushed into the one coming off of turn four and spun out in one of the qualifying heats. So that's something to watch out for. Obviously, the fastest way to pass around this track is going to be on the bottom. If you ran track or anything, you know it's the shortest distance around the track is the inside lane. And there is no out of bounds. There's no inner wall like there was in the Coliseum. It is the football field in the middle of it. It's all painted and stuff for the race, but there's no pit in the middle of it. So I believe in the Coliseum they did have like a staging area for cars and stuff. All the cars go out of the stadium into the parking lot, and that's where the pits is set up. So Kyle Busch and Priest did a pretty good job running outside effectively, and maybe that groove will come in, but it's pretty much going to be a fight for the bottom all night long. Now there's no out of bounds, but you don't want to go too far down because there's storm drains all around the track. And if your wheels hit it, your car's going to bounce. And especially if you hit it with the left rear, it's going to kick it to the right and your car's going to spin out. So these cars are pretty tough. There's going to be a lot of bumping and hitting, and we saw Nemechek hit the wall pretty hard last night, but it didn't break his toe link, so he was able to get back out and race. So these cars will take a beating, and I think some of them will break some toe links, hitting those trying to cheat and get down in that infield or getting pushed down into that infield. They're going to hit those storm drains. They're going to bounce and they're going to spin and hit the wall and be out of the race. So I don't think all 23 cars are going to finish the race. I think probably 20 will. And I don't think they're all going to finish on the lead lap. I think maybe probably 12 to 14 will. So I think those are the main things. Even though there's like you have to kind of leave the stadium for cars to go in and out of pit road. There weren't any instances last night with cars like coming in, going on during practice, but something to watch out for. You in the field, they didn't make it into the main race yet because there's a last chance qualifier. So right now, the top 20 are already in after the heats last night. Then you're going to have two more last chance qualifiers. It's going to be a 75 lap race at 6 o'clock today. And we'll go over those drivers, my thoughts of who could get in on there. And then you're going to have the 23rd person was the highest finishing driver last year. So it looks like it's going to be Blaney. Now, in years past, I think Truex and a couple other people who had that sat out this race, they didn't want to bang up their car. I think he goes out there and runs some race for research and development and doesn't like go full force there, especially because he started way in the back. Doesn't want to damage the car. I think, if the heat gets turned up too much in that race, he's going to bow out and he's going to get the spot. If for some reason he does stay in, if for some reason he gets up and finishes first or second, then Kyle Larson will automatically get the spot. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be Blaney. I'm pretty sure he's not going to run the full qualifying, last chance qualifier race. But we have the 20 cars in there already. In the field that haven't made it yet are legends Tim Brown and Burt Myers from this track. I doubt they're going to make the main event. Priest ran the modified race here also with them, but didn't place that great. But Tim Brown and Burt Myers, I believe, are like 1 and 2 in like wins on this track and in the sprint cars. And when they talked about all of them, they said that these cup cars have so much more grip than those modifies do. So practice speeds you can take with a grain of salt. Group one benefit definitely from the rubber being down from the modified race earlier. Some in the practice two sessions of the group ran better because they went out for the first practice and then they immediately went to the pit to make adjustments so the tires were fresher. You could definitely see there's a lot of fall off. This is the softest tire that Goodyear can make for them, and they have great grip early, but then the fall off comes and then it really slows the cars down. So if you manage your tires correctly, then or come up with some weird strategy where you stay out longer and have fresher tires towards the end, it could definitely help you, but it's still going to be hard to pass here. Richard Childress's shop is just down the road from here. He raced here often, so it gives him a little bit of insight too. And their cars have done well in the Clash. Struggled a little bit here in this one, but Bush made the main event. AD's Austin Dillon struggled a little bit, but still has some work to do to get in, but he has a chance. So just some other notes from the practice and the heat sessions. All the Hendrick cars, but Larson looked great. Um, Larson just seemed to struggle in the heat race, and he's pretty far back, and he's got a lot of work to do. But it's not impossible. He has 75 laps, and he could figure it out definitely. All the Gibbs cars looked really strong here. Also, Ty Gibbs is the only one not in, but I feel that he can get in here. He is starting really close to the front in this qualifying race. He has raced in a couple times for the All Star race and for the Clash before. He he was really strong in practice one, but had a lot of fall off in practice two. And in the heat race, he just wasn't aggressive enough. He was right with the transfer spot, battling with Bowman. He refused to get up on his bumper and try to move him. He kind of waited for like a caution from the re-rack, but no caution came. The car started to pull away. And I think being in the third position here on the bottom and with Ty Dillon right in front of him, who really hasn't done well on some of these shorter tracks and stuff. I think he goes right after him, gets out there, and I think he's just going to lead most of the laps in this last chance qualifier and get in. So that's kind of some background here. So the chart that I have in front of you is we're looking at columns B, C, and D are the Clash 23, 20, 22, 23, 24. And then I have the All-Star race 23 and 24, which are North Wilkesboro, which was a shorter track also. The reason I looked at these, and one of them was kind of goofy. I think it was a 23 Clash, had like 27 cars in it. But I just wanted to go to show you like everybody is like, you know, let's stack the back and take like the last place person in, which which I get that. And sorry, the 24 all-star race only had 20 cars in it. That's why there's some data missing in those rows. But I really wanted to look at like in bold is the starting position, like where did cars finish? So like the pole sitter did really well. Besides the 23 Clash, has finished second, first, seventh, and first. And if you remember, I think the All-Star race last year, like Hamlin just took off and led the whole race. It was super boring. So hopefully that doesn't happen here. But in looking at some of the other places are all over the place. And if you look at the bottom, like Blaney is the number three. So if he gets in, he did start 23rd in the Clash in 24 and made his way all the way up to third, which was like pretty amazing. And the 22nd place card made up the seventh. And we've seen some things like that, but we've also seen that some of these cars that start towards the back stayed towards the back. So look at it here. So the average finish in column G here of the first place car is fifth, second place 10th, third place third, eighth, seventh, 12th. So they're all pretty close here. But as you look down here, there's really not a ton of place differential, usually from like 17th on back. And so what I did was I looked at the place differential. So there is some like 3, 8, 4, 5, 8, 8. So definitely some good place in cash here for place differential. And then I figure out like what their finishing points would be. So 22nd, 23rd, okay, it does make sense to get them here. 19th looks like a real sweet spot. It looks like, second and third are probably some of your least ones because first usually gets out there. This is about dominating points, but it definitely shows you um, that the person on the pole generally doesn't lose place differential and does generally have a really good starting position. Then it looks like 10 and 11 could be the sweet spot. Again, it's just a five race sample here. It's not the word of God by any means, but I just kind of wanted to see is stacking the back of this race really what the answer is. And I think there is some value in it, but I think there's also some value of looking up here and like kind of in the center. So let me switch screens quick and I'll pull up my chart of the drivers that are in the race. Let's stop share, then I'll reshare here. Okay. So here we have, and again, right now, I'll just put like a yellow line here because this is where we are going to start talking about the drivers in the last chance qualifier. So who's in the race? Elliott and Busher are on the pole. Elliott's obviously going to have the key inside position there with Denny Hamlin right behind him. Busher was an RFK car. Like they really didn't do well. Like Busher has never made a clash, and this year I think they figured out and they looked a lot better. I think he had like a lot of speed in but my only fear here is that his car for the heat and for the qualifier were set up for like a short run to have like that like initial speed. I don't know how well he's going to do on long runs. Hamlin kind of concerned me too because he looked terrible in P1 and then I don't know if they just figured it out or having like the fresher tires later on, not running as many laps kind of was a benefit to them with the speeds. He did go out there and still won his qualifier. So, and he has always done well in these races. So I think you got to consider those. But I really like Reddick in cash here. I think overall the clashes and short track and what you're really looking for is not necessarily people like I look back at Martinsville. That's a good track to kind of look at for people to at how they finish there to gauge how you're going to do probably in this scenario because that's like was this race right before Phoenix last year. But the other thing that you want to look at too is they say that if you are a really good road course driver, that's going to bode well for you here also because of all the braking and that you have to do, like being a quarter mile track and so short. So road course people are definitely going to be good. So Reddick, I like here. Keselowski, again, I have the same feeling as Busher. Yes, like it's amazing that both of them are in the top five after struggling to make any of the clashes previously and just being like abysmal, like really, really bad, trying to do that. So I think that I'm kind of skeptical. Maybe they figured it out. Maybe things are going to be much better this year for them. Not that they had bad seasons last year, but I just don't really feel this is the best type of race for them. Looking back at Martinsville last year, um, like, well, let's see here. Where did they finish? Busher started 26th, finished 30th. and Keselowski started 18th and finished ninth. So, that's not too bad there. Chase Briscoe, if you watch these videos before, you know exactly what I'm going to say before I even say it. He blew me away in the first clash in 22 because he was a rookie. He was out there. He understands how to shift cars more than anybody has. I know the cars changed from 22 to 23, I think it was. I can't remember when the first next gen car came out. But anyway, still, even though they still shift, it's just sequential instead of like the H pattern that you have on like a regular standard transmission. But he's always been good. He's upgraded equipment here. He's in a Joe Gibbs car. He's got a great crew chief, a great crew, great program, and he looked good out there. And I think and he's done really well in the clashes, besides the one that Kyle Larson booted him and wrecked him, and he couldn't continue. I think that might have been 22 as the first year with the new car because I think that's when they had the really bad toe links and the cars were like hopping and braking really easily, and we were like, oh, this is going to be a disaster, which it was initially, but they seem to have gotten better over time. Joey Logano, I'm going to put as one of my 100K drivers, probably one of my favorite ones for a GPP here. He's a former champion. He is the king of winning at new tracks, and he has done really well here, having one Clash victory at the Coliseum. Christopher Bell, I think, is a GPP here. Pricing is kind of high. Looked good in the Gibbs car and stuff. He did okay running on the outside a little bit, but he's always hit or miss for me. And I don't know if this necessarily is the best style for him for running. I think he's pretty much average. And for the price tag, I don't know if he's going to be able to pay it off. Noah Gragson, he is aggressive. He's super aggressive, and that could help him. It could hurt him. It's going to be a GPP for me. Van Gisberger, I'm going to give a prime two here. He was really fast in practice, looked really good, and he understands the braking in the Martinsville race. I think he started down in like the 30s and got up to like 12th. Did really well there with the same principles of braking on short track. And we know he's really good at taking calculated risks and doing well passing and braking for road courses. So I think that's going to help him there. Byron is solid. These Hendrick cars looked good, and I think they had good long run speed. So I think that he's a solid cash play. Prius ran the modified, looked really good, was working with the outside line. I think that he is going, and he actually got from the back and made some really aggressive passes to get up to the third position and the fourth qualifier to be able to take this spot and was able to hold it off. So I think he's going to have a really good night here. Kyle Busch has been dominant in the class races. I think he's finished third, second, and third. I thought about putting him as a prime, but he's definitely going to be in my GPP plays with Logano there just because he has so much upside, I think, but also can have downside really quickly too. Bubba Wallace has just usually made all-star races based on the fan vote and hasn't always got his way in. The Clash, he was okay in. Nothing really sticks out here. Okay road course driver. I don't think he was like the greatest at how do you do it, Martinsville? Wallace, not horrible. Started 19th, finished 18th. So I don't really see started 14th here. I think he finishes in the top 15, but I'm not expecting anything super great from him. Carson Hocevar has been solid, so definitely someone that I think I really liked how he looked with the speed and everything on this track during practice and qualifying. So I don't think he like struggled to get in or anything. I think I know that he's still a young driver, but the car looks solid, and I think that 6,500 is a good price for him. Austin Cindric, I think, is going to go nothing but up here. He has been very, very good on road courses, and he started 24th at Martinsville. He finished fourth, and he looked really good in practice out there. So really like I think that I feel like that's a very solid GPP building blocks there with Logano, Bush, and Cindric, especially Cindric's price at 7,100. Chastain and Suarez, Trackhouse guys here. I think they've got some chance to move up. Obviously, Chastain is much more aggressive than Suarez, but I think Chastain's aggressiveness could hurt him. Suarez's lack of aggressiveness could hurt him. So I think they're both GPP for me. Bowman, just from the positioning, like he's running really well in the clash. He's just like kind of the blue collar guy that's just kind of there at the end of the day on in seventh position. You're like, oh, huh, Alex Bowman had a great race. Don't think he's going to be a threat to win it or lead any laps, but I do think he could move up and have a solid day. And then Gillian's going to be super, super chalky just based on the price. Everybody's going to throw him in the lineup to try to make it work. I prefer Van Ginsbergen for $200 less as the prime, but I think a lot of people will be coring Gillian. So let's look at the second chance, or last chance qualifying race here. Um, Dillon and Smith, yes, they're up here to start this race, but if I look at their races in the Clash and at Martinsville and just overall, I just really Smith was pretty good on road courses and truck, but not great here in Cup. Um, so I don't think either one of them are going to make it, and they'd probably be a fade too if they did by chance make it. Um, I just think it's just because everybody else took themselves out and lost the chance to get in, whether more than they got out there and actually won it. Ty Gibbs, I think, is going to dominate this race, and he's going to win and get in there. But I still think he's in a GPP place starting 21st or 22nd, wherever he ends up there, just because he hasn't fared well in the clashes or these types of races. It was good in Xfinity and road courses, has been okay in the Cup Series. Michael McDowell's good on road courses, better super speedway guy. So I think he's a GPP. Austin Dillon has been very, very good in clashes and on the short tracks. So I think that he's one that could potentially get in. And Eric Jones also, both of we saw Eric Jones like in some of these all-star races move from the back of the field all the way up into like a top five positioning. So I think that the two of them have the chance to get the second one. Perps, rookie here, like he's good in Xfinity and everything. It looked pretty solid out there. But I think like he's not going to get any breaks being a rookie, and maybe some of his teammates might help him, but he really only has one at a Toyota here, and in Jones, so I don't think that he's going to get any help getting into the race. Haley, and Allmendinger. I think Haley has looked really, really good, and Allmendinger is great at road courses. So if either one of them get in, I think that they have a strong chance starting in the back of the field to be cash play. If Larson does make it in, he's going to be a prime play. He's starting 10th here, so he does still have a shot, I think, but he's got a lot of work to do with the cars in front of him. House, I don't think is going to make it. John Hunter Nemechek, I think is going to crash. Josh Berry, even though I've always been a fan for him, not because of his namesake, just because I really liked his talent coming up in Xfinity and see a lot of potential in him. And I think this would be a good team for him this year. However, if you look at his clash data, he's been horrible. Cody Ware, no. Burt Myers, that car looked really slow. I just don't think that he's got it to make it. Custer could. I saw Custer in one of the short track races here where there's only 23 got up from like the back and got up into like the top five. So I think that he's got a chance to do that potentially. But again, actually, he was doing pretty good in the heat race, and I believe he's the one that got hit into the turn four staircase there and got spun around and just couldn't recover. So keep an eye on him for being aggressive, a long shot to get in. Blaney is going to be in no matter what. It just matters if he goes to try to win this race in his 21st or 22nd. He's probably be 23rd, and I think he'd definitely be a prime play too, just based on some of the other ones. So if you want to take out one of the other ones, I'd probably take out Briscoe. I think you got to have Elliott up there. Just you turn Briscoe to a cash play there, and then Blaney, if for some reason if something crashes or the car doesn't look right or something, if early on in this last chance qualifier, if he gets caught up in something and the car's questionable but still going to race, then the prime tag's going to come off of him. Smithy's a fade, and Tim Brown's only a GPP, only because like he knows the track and stuff, and he built this car like he's a mechanic for Rick Ware. It's a single car. Um, they're moving to being a single car team this year, even though they've got two in there here with Cody Ware. But I think that It's such a long shot for him to make it here. It'd have to be an absolute miracle. So, like I said, if you're betting on it, I think Ty Gibbs is the safest one to make it in, and then probably Jones or Dillon, and then potentially Allmendinger, Larson, or if, like a Hail Mary Cole Custer. So that's what I got for you. I'll have the final things up probably around 7:30. So go to FSidfs.com and you can sign up for the monthly package and you can be in the Discord for free. And I'll have my final thoughts and everything posted in there about half an hour before the race begins. So thanks for watching. Looking forward to being back for the season. I'm going to try to bring in some other people in the industry to co-host a couple shows this year. I've been talking about it for a couple years. It just hasn't panned out, but this year I want to try to make it happen. I will try to have a truck series, an Xfinity, and a Cup Series preview for you. I also might do one for the difference between DK and FanDuel that you've asked for too. But again, I'll try to. I think I only missed a couple last year due to weird circumstances and sickness and stuff. Um, and some of the time it was hard to make a video because NASCAR makes it impossible when you have qualifying like less than an hour before like the race to get like everything out to shoot a video and stuff. And that's why we have like the Discord and stuff. It's very, very cheap to get in there and to get the information to help you out. Sometimes we'll do speculation videos, and actually they were pretty accurate last year. We nailed a lot of things and actually made a lot of money on them. So thanks for watching all these years. Appreciate it. Been doing this since I think 2016, 2018, I think it was when we first started. So, we're in probably like our seventh year now. So, appreciate the watching, the support. These videos help. Like, subscribe to our channel, share with your friends, and again, good luck in your contest tonight. I'll see you in a couple weeks for Daytona Speed Week to get the all set for who's in the Truck Series this year, who's in Xfinity, who's in the Cup Series, and then we'll preview the duels. We'll preview all the Daytona races for trucks for Xfinity, and then we're on to the season. So I'm looking forward to it. It's good to be back. So good luck in your contest. Hope you had an amazing holiday season and ready to go for 2025. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.